Phantasmic Journey podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Philip Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Phantasmic Journey podcast. We are coming to you live from the PGH Studios. Syndication brought to you in part by WGKC Radio and Radio Live 365. You can listen live to the broadcast via the Live 365 app for either your Apple or your Android phone. Or if you're like me, you want to go to your PC and type in www.live365.com. Now, on with the show. There's a lot of strange and crazy things going on in the paranormal realm these days. What weird and wacky stories you got for us today, Paula?
Well, today is National Mole Day.
National Mole Day. National
Boston Cream Pie. And National...
That's what it was, Boston Cream Pie. I had one of my coworkers come into the office, and he said... you're going to Boston next week. And I said, yeah. He goes, pick me up a Boston cream pie. And I'm like, a what?
It's actually a cake, believe it or not. It's not actually
Well, he wants me to pick him up one. And I'm just like, dude, you know how nasty it'll be before it even gets to you?
Well, you know, if you go to Boston, it's more famous for clam chowder than it is anything else.
Ooh, I love clam chowder.
Boston clam chowder, yep.
Oh, heck yeah.
Today is National TV Talk Show Host Day. Who is your favorite TV talk show host?
I don't know. I don't think I have one.
Steve Harvey.
Ah, yeah, Steve Harvey.
I think so. Who could not like Steve Harvey? Okay, on this day, I'm going to cover my history right quick before I go to the weirdness. On this day in 1921, and it's funny because we just covered this past weekend.
We did.
As in one of our filming locations.
Okay.
On October 23rd, 1921, the USA's prohibition laws went into effect.
Oh, okay, I know where we were.
Also, today was the day that Dumbo was released in 1941, the fourth film in the Disney animated features. Dumbo was based upon a children's book about an elephant with big ears who was capable of flying by using them as wings.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
By the way, to be back to the prohibition laws, to be a prohibition agent, it cost them, their pay was $145 a month.
Huh. Okay.
But the rum runners would offer them bribes of $100,000 for them to just ignore what's going on.
Yeah.
So would you abide by the law for $145 a month, or would you take the $100,000 and say, shut up?
Can I plead the fifth? That's me. I'll plead the fifth.
Today, in October 23rd, 2001, the USA iPod. Apple released the first iPod capable of storing 1,000 songs. The iPod came with a 5 gigabyte hard drive and was full Mac compatibility.
Gigabart? What the hell is a gigabart? You mean gigabyte? Okay, gotcha.
Sales worldwide of the iPod now exceeds 150 million, and Apple iTunes have now sold over 5 billion songs worldwide.
I believe it. They partnered with a lot of people like Spotify and Napster. I remember when Napster used to be pirated. That was hilarious.
Well, now on to my 2 creepy stories for tonight. This is a haunting moment. A creepy ventriloquist doll dating from the Second World War allegedly blinks and moves its mouth.
I've heard about that. It's inside a glass case.
Uh-huh.
I've seen the video.
The 1940s doll named Mr. Fritz was given to Michael Diamond, 48, earlier this year by a former prisoner at the Nazi World War II camp. Mr. Diamond noticed the door to the doll's glass display cabinet kept opening up at night, so he set on a GoPro camera to film over 2 evenings on September 19th and 20th. When the father of 2 from Liverpool watched back through the footage, he saw the cabinet door open and the doll's mouth and eyes moving. He believed the doll is haunted and has now locked the cabinet in his home with a chain and covered it with a blanket. Mr. Diamond said, "When I first watched the video back, I had a weird feeling in my stomach. I wasn't completely surprised because what has been happening with the door? At least once or twice a week, I've noticed the door kept coming off its latch. I decided to set up the camera for fun just to see if anything would happen. When something actually did, I got weird feeling in my gut. It's hard to describe. I was really taken back by it, and I did have a strange feeling. I wouldn't say I'm scared of Mr. Fritz, but I am wary of it." The creepy doll was made by an American prisoner at the Staga 82B, a German World War II camp, now in the town of Snars in Poland. Mr. Diamond believes the prisoner worked as a ventriloquist before being taken prisoner. The doll was apparently taken to America after the end of the war and was owned by an antique shop in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina before it came to the UK. Mr. Fritz was given to Mr. Diamond by a local military collector in July and now lives in Mr. Diamond's freak room where all his collector items are kept.
Yep.
And this thing looks creepy as can be.
It does. It looks like Walter was set on fire.
Oh. My wife and daughter both hate it. I get why people don't like it, and I think it might be scary, but I'm not intimidated by it.
Ooh, it's scary, all right. I've seen the video. I watched it.
Yeah, I have too. Well, that's the ones.
The thing opens on up, and you can see his mouth move. It's like, oh my.
And I got one more story for you tonight, but I got to pull it because I pulled it from last week, and we ended up not having a podcast. So give me just 1 second. Here it is. Grandmothers may have a funky smell, and sure, they can be pretty annoying sometimes, but I think it's safe to say that nobody really fears them. Old women are typical, seen as being completely harmless, though a 60-year-old Tamara Samonora may forever change the way you view them. As reported by the UK Daily Star, the Russian grandmother was arrested this week for the murder of her 79-year-old friend, caught thanks to CCTV footage that showed her hauling the elderly woman's body parts around in a plastic bag. At a nearby pond, the rest of the woman's corpse was soon located. But that's only the beginning of the story. As the police raid the flat, uncovering a series of diaries detailing upward of 14 other murders, and the woman already dubbed Granny Bell Lecter by the media didn't just kill her victims, she chopped them into pieces and even consumed them. The horrifying diaries recount the brutal murders of a man whose remains were found over a decade ago, and even her own husband.
Okay.
Who went missing back in 2005. At the time, nobody suspected that the 58-year-old woman was to blame for his disappearance. "I killed my attendant, Voldaria, cut him into pieces in the bathroom with a knife,"
Oh, nice.
chillingly wrote in one diary, "put the pieces of his body in a plastic bag and threw them away." The so-called Hannibal Lecter has already pleaded guilty to her crimes, insisting that she knew this day was coming and that she intended to be caught. She says the recent murder of her friend was the closing of the cannibalistic chapter of her life, and she was to be punished to the full extent of the law. And they're waiting for her to go to trial.
Okay.
Yeah. And those are my creepy stories for the night.
Oh my goodness. Waiting for her to go to trial, huh?
Waiting for her to go to trial.
Okay. Well, joining us tonight, they are a husband and wife team, which has been working in the paranormal for 13 years. He is a retired from the military, worked 9 years on a local police department, and retired from the Florida Department of Corrections. She has worked in the local hospital and switched to Florida Department of Corrections. Our guests tonight are from Ghost Life Paranormal Investigations. Welcome to the show, Tina and Dana Flery. How are you guys doing today?
How you doing, Gavin?
Hey, we're doing good. How you doing?
Hey, Tina. Hey, Dana.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Paula.
So what do you think of those weird stories, huh?
No, go ahead, hon. Just make sure you can hear us.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. What do you think of those weird stories Paula had?
I've always been afraid of dolls to begin with.
Yeah.
Dolls and clowns.
Yeah, I don't like dolls and clowns either.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually seen that video. It's a head, part of a dummy's head inside a glass case, and the glass case pops open, and all of a sudden you see its mouth go up and down like it's talking.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. It'd be like seeing the Annabelle in the glass case. I had no desire to see that one either.
Ah.
I will pass.
Oh man.
We have one in Florida. It's like kind of like the Annabelle doll. I can't even think his name now.
You talking about Harold?
He's down in.
Is it Harold?
Yeah, the Harold doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't know much about him, but I don't want to see him either.
thought Zach Bagans had him inside the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas.
No.
The Harold?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, Harold's still in Florida.
He's the sailor one, right? Yeah, I've seen. They had
him on the one show that they had.
My Deadly Possessions.
Yes.
Okay.
But he didn't buy it. The guy wouldn't even.
Oh, he wouldn't sell it.
No, he wouldn't sell it. He said he was going to go back home with him and put back in the museum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't they have him in a box too, kind of like Annabelle though, like a glass box?
Yeah, and they
Or
have
something like that,
yeah,
too.
and they have a line of salt around the bottom of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's nuts.
It'd be interesting though, put them two together, see what happens.
Oh Lord.
No, maybe I wouldn't want to know.
I wouldn't want to even attempt that because you would actually have to physically pick her up and throw her in there.
Yeah, and you'd have to pick him up too, so that probably wouldn't be a good thing.
Mm-mm.
Psycho babies.
Oh Lord.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Definitely wouldn't want to investigate the place that it's at. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Be having all kind of strange things happen to us.
Oh, no kidding. So, how long have you guys been? Let's see. You've been in the paranormal for 13 years, but what actually got you into the paranormal?
Well, my wife, Tina, she got in it with her friends first. They used to go around to local cemeteries and do some EVPs and use some of the ghost hunting equipment around the cemeteries. And out here we're out in the country in Florida, and they didn't like going out into the cemeteries at nighttime because of the wild animals and stuff. They didn't like going out there alone.
Right.
So she started dragging me out there and asking me to, at least be there for just moral support, I guess. And
the human shield.
I didn't. Yeah, being a shield. Yeah. You don't have to be fast. You just got to be faster than the person that you're with.
Right.
But,
I'm not fast.
But we was at one cemetery, and we didn't have much ghost hunting equipment back then. This was probably around 2006.
Okay.
And I used to borrow this one girl's camera. It had one of those lens covers that hang on a dummy cord on the front of it there.
Mm-hmm. And
I was standing there doing my husbandly thing, taking photos and stuff, and they could see that I wasn't really interested into it. And so they both started taunting whatever spirits was there in the cemetery.
We wasn't taunting. I just knew he didn't believe, and I said, look, if you are here, please let Dana know you are here. That's all we were doing.
So, and I always wear a baseball cap, and about that time, Tina was taking pictures with her camera, and it was no breeze that night. It was a calm, still night, and about that time, it felt like a hand just came and whacked me right across the face.
Oh, jeez.
It knocked my hat off, and the lens cap that was hanging on the dummy cord come flying up over the top of my hands.
Oh, wow.
And it scared the heck out of me. I mean, I'm just standing there in shock. And Tina showed me some of the pictures that she was taking at that time, and the tombstone I was standing next to, there was no fog or anything that night, but during that time, right about that time that I got whacked, there was this big mist coming out of the tombstone, and it looked like a hand right over my head, and then it disappeared.
Huh.
And so that got me into believing that there was something out there. We since then bought just about every piece of ghost hunting equipment that you can buy, and we traveled to just about any place we can afford to go and investigate it to see what evidence we can get.
Mm-hmm. So you basically got into it. You got into it from Tina, but how did you get into the paranormal, Tina?
When I was like 12 years old, I was with a bunch of my girlfriends, little girls. She brought out a Ouija board.
Oh, dear God.
So we started playing. I had no clue what it was, I'll be honest with you. I just, we're young girls. We're just asking stupid questions, like at that time, who we're going to marry and are we going to have kids, girl stuff.
Right.
And that's all we did with it. And after that, some strange stuff started happening at my house. I get chills talking about to this day. I was in bed one night, and I was just like almost yanked out of my bed.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but it yanked me from my arms. My arm was elevated. It's both arms. I could not move them, and I couldn't yell. It's like something was stopping me from yelling for my dad. And whatever it was, it forced me to look out my window, which was right by my bed, and it looked like a Grim Reaper, but it didn't have no face. It had the cape and everything, but it had no face.
Ooh.
And yeah, it was terrifying. And I told my sister what happened, and she got a hold of her preacher, and I got saved and baptized that day. And I told him about the Ouija board. Like I said, at that time, they had no clue what it was, and he explained to me what it was, and he said that we opened up doors, and I didn't think that you could open up a door just asking silly little girl questions, Now
that's weird. Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that Ouija boards are all, demonic or whatever you want to call it. Just that was just my experience with one, and it seemed after that, like I've always felt like a presence around me. I just had always blocked it out, and then I met this one girl, and we started doing this like the little cemeteries, like Dana was saying, and it got me more interested into the paranormal.
Not only that, like I said, I've got 12 years as a correctional officer, and Tina's got about 10 years as corrections, and we work night shift. We always worked night shift when we were working, and you see some things in the prison at nighttime.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen orbs come right up out of the floor while the inmates were sleeping. I've seen. I was doing guard one night at the medical center, And you have a little window right there, and there's a hallway, an entrance to a hallway, and the medical door stays locked because we have inmates that are in, they're in the medical cells there being taken care of.
Right.
And so, you see somebody come walking down the hallway, you got to go and open the door for them. And I saw a doctor walk down the hallway in a white lab coat. And I got up, went around, opened the door, unlocked it, opened it up. There was nobody in the hallway.
Oh, wow.
And so, I mean, and then Tina had, in the dorm she was working, she was sitting there counseling with an inmate, and her and this inmate both saw this apparition walk down the hallway and into a room when there was nobody in the building. And they both looked at each other and, confirmed that they had just seen something, and she went down and checked, and there was nobody down there. So, I mean, you see things, working nights, working shift at a prison. And I don't know, there's probably a lot of things that has to do with that. Like, I believe that, I'm a firm believer that the more that you do paranormal investigations, the more you get into doing investigations and trying to communicate with the spirit, that you open yourself up more and more, to be more sensitive to what's actually going on around you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. The more and more that you actually do this, you're actually able to start seeing things, sensing things, feeling things. I mean, for me, we've been doing this for, 7 years now? Mm-hmm. And I can actually tell when there is something in the room with me, and I can also point out in the direction where it's coming from.
Exactly.
I'm not an empath. I mean, there was one time where we were in a location, and I actually felt the sadness. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes that can be overwhelming too.
Yeah. And then Paula, well, she's, I don't know, what are you, sensitive, empath?
Both.
Everything?
Not everything.
All the above.
Sensitive, empath. It depends. I'm also a dream path.
A what?
What they call a dream path.
What's a dream path?
Basically, you dream about different things. That's the reason why I don't like to watch ghost hunting shows. Because I can see more into what the show consists of than what it is.
Yeah, you did that one with the Ghostbusters at Thornhaven Manor.
Some of them shows, I'm like, there's more to, and I can tell all the way into the whole show, I can tell there's more backstory to what is being shown.
Well, they're not going to give you all the backstory. They want to give you all the excitement because that's what everybody wants.
I know that, but there is to an extent when you dream about the situation, you find out the truth just by dreaming it.
Yeah.
That's true. I've had, I thought was out of body experience one time. It was, it was just so surreal. I mean, it was, I was looking at my own body laying on the bed.
Oh, wow.
And I was just staring at myself, and then I had transported or teleported to this location, and it was almost like that the old it was a building almost like that Arkansas, the old confinement area that they had, the old buildings there, the old World War II type style barracks, and I was going through one of the buildings there, and our group was there, and I was like getting right into everybody's face, and it actually, it was like I was like sensing I was there, and then, but we've never been at that location. We've never been there, but it was like I knew what was around, and I knew what spirits was around there at that time, and then I had just woke up, came back, and it was like I was exhausted, and I was sweating and everything else, but it was just one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had, and I've only had that once.
Well, I've had something similar to that, but not, well, I guess it would be the same almost, but it was different because I actually did the same thing, saw myself, but then I was transported, believe it or not, into the past. And I was back at my house in Pasadena, California, and I'm seeing everything just like it was yesterday. I'm walking through the house, and the weird thing is, the dogs, they sensed me. But I couldn't communicate with them, but they sensed me because I could be like, like that, and all of a sudden they turn their heads and just look at me. But nobody else could see me. But I was just there, and I'm just like looking around and stuff, and all of a sudden I came across something that my mom had been looking for 12 years. And yeah, I found it. And I called her up and I told her exactly where it was. Sure enough, she went and looked, and she found it.
That's cool.
That is amazing.
And she's like, how did you do that? I'm like, I have no idea. It's really bizarre and weird. But it was like so real because the dogs could sense me.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just weird.
Yeah, I think animals can sense stuff like that more than what we give them credit for, just in general.
Yeah.
We're retired, so we travel a lot, and we take some friends with us that are on Truth and Legends too. Thunderstruck Paranormal.
And
he got some Thunderstruck Paranormal. He's on the Truth and Legends in your hometown too.
Oh, okay.
We do a lot of investigations along with John and Jim and April.
Okay.
But we were at the Beluska Axe Murder House, and Danny got some, and we had never seen it, some awesome evidence. He actually got a full-body apparition at the back door. Stand there, you could see the outline of the head and everything. And the door just flung open.
And then slammed shut.
And just slammed shut.
Oh, wow.
And all night long that night on the SLS camera, it was kind of chilly. It was early April. It was still kind of cold in Iowa. But it looked like somebody was stoking the fire on the SLS camera all night long on that. That was my point about the SLS. What do you think about the SLS? Or you think they're pretty reliable? Or?
Truthfully, if you are in a house that is littered with dressers and furniture and lamps and chairs, your SLS is going to map every one of those things at a person. Whenever we use the SLS, we're actually pointing it into an area where there is no furniture. It's just an empty room. And if we have a figure show up in the middle of the room or near the wall, then, we kind of go, scratch our heads. Because we actually had that happen at, where the heck were we? Oh, Weldon Manor in Central City, Kentucky? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've been there. We've been at Weldon. That's a crazy place.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you know about the portal hallway.
No, the girl that was there, she didn't really. She was new at the tour guide at the time.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't really get that much information out of the place.
And they still had a lot of the Halloween decorations up, so it was kind of hard to...
But I know Danny and Gina got some awesome EVPs out of there, telling us to leave and everything. And,
yeah.
And Gina heard a siren sound like Silent Hill sirens going off.
Oh,
and nobody knew where that was coming from. It was a very interesting night. When we first got there, all four of us were standing out there looking at the building like, wow, you didn't get that vibe from it, like it was gonna be an active night. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then as the night went on, it's like, holy cow! Actually, we got more activity out of that place than we did Waverly Hills that night.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
Oh yeah. Well, Portal Hallway is a long hallway. They had two doors on the, like, if you're looking at the hallway and to the left, there were two doors. And what they told us is one of the doors was going in. Well, then you're in a room, and then you come out the other door. Well, they removed the doors, so it's just an opening. And I set up the SLS camera, an infrared camera, a full spectrum, and we went back to base camp. 175 feet away, and we're watching the stream from the camera, and all of a sudden it starts shifting, and it was kind of doing an up and down, left and right shift, and I'm like, okay, so that must be the portal. And there's no way we could fake this because it was 1 frame a second, because something happened with the recording. I had it set to 29 frames a second, and it only recorded 1 frame a second. So it's shifting, and all of a sudden it stopped, and a little circle appeared, and then boom, a 7-foot-tall stick figure showed up, and he waved to us.
Holy cow! Now, what was that by? Do you remember what rooms it was by?
It's just the long hallway.
Because me and Ben, we were in one of the rooms that looked like it was set up like to be the like where they cut your hair and stuff at. Mm-hmm. And him and I just did not feel right in there. It felt real heavy. So him and I decided to sit down there and do some EVP. And it was just me and Ben sitting there at the time. And the periscope was going off. The K2 was going off. It was just, it felt different. And Ben was playing back his EVPs, and he heard a little girl laugh. Did you guys get any little girls or anything like that? Or?
Well, we got a picture.
We have a picture that has a little girl named Maggie. It has her brother, but then there's a woman, an old woman with a beehive hairstyle, clutching them together in the picture. At first, we thought it was a demon because it looked like one due to the cranium of the head, but I gave it to a friend of mine, Rebecca Smuck, and she said, no, that's an old woman with a beehive hairdo. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see it.
Wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, Maggie's a little girl.
Something else we found is we were at another plantation in Mobile, Alabama, and we do this experiment where we use the SP7 spirit box and headphones, and whoever's listening to the headphones, we also put a blindfold on them so they can't hear anybody else asking questions. And their job is just to blurt out what they hear over the SP7. Mm-hmm. And we were at the Oakley House plantation in Mobile, and we had one of the workers there, one of the tour guides, put on the headphones and the blindfold. And we were all just standing around, asking questions real quietly, who's here, what are you doing here, what's your name, tell us your name. And we started getting the name Harold and Ina. And we had just came from the Villisca Axe Murder House, and we was communicating with Ina. At least we know for a fact we was communicating with her. Yeah. And here we are, 1,500 miles away from Villisca, and we're in Mobile, Alabama, and this girl just starts blurting out, Harold, Ina, yes, I'm here, yeah. I mean, it's like, and it was crazy. I mean, and then we had to tell them, if this is Harold and Ina from Villisca, you're not allowed to be with us. You need to go back to Villisca. You're not allowed to travel with us.
Yeah, they couldn't figure out why me and Gina just got real quiet. We didn't say anything because me and Gina knew what those names meant. Mm-hmm. And I think it might have been Gina that had asked, are you from Villisca? And I think it was on SB7. She replied yes back to that question. And that's when Gina had told her, you guys are not allowed to be here. You need to go back home, type thing. Huh. Now, was it the kids' spirits or was it something else?
Something that was I don't know. Imitating them. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something you don't know.
Yeah, we've never. We've never been.
We
to
never got
Villisca.
attacked like that, but
Yeah, we've never been to Villisca yet. That's on our list, but we've never been there.
Villisca is nice, and great hospitality. Johnny Hauser, he's just awesome. He's an awesome guy, and the owner, they're just. It's a nice place, but if you go there, you can't just stop at Villisca. Now there's a list of them there. You got to go through.
You got to do Squirrel Cage Jail. You got to do Melvin Manor. You got to do Edinburgh. You got to do Ferris School.
Which I think you guys did Ferris School, didn't you?
Yeah, we did the Farrar School, and we did Melvin Manor too.
Yeah, I like both of those locations actually. I tried to get you guys to go Trans-Allegheny with us, and you didn't go. You missed the awesome investigation.
I think we were filming that weekend.
We're always
I think
filming.
you were.
We're always
Yeah,
filming.
we're always filming.
If we're not filming for Truth or Legends, we're filming for a movie.
Yeah.
Or we're working on a documentary.
We're excited about Truth and Legends now. Like I said, Danny and Gina, they're usually with us on all of our investigations, and they're doing the Georgia area.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, and which we're in the southern belt, and it's kind of hard getting investigations going on. But we're really excited about the Pensacola Lighthouse, and we owe everything to Rob. And Rob, if you're on, thank you so much, hon, for hooking us up with the Pensacola Lighthouse. Dana, I'll let Dana tell you his story about Pensacola, what he saw the first day we were there.
Well, we had just came from the Oakley House in Mobile, Alabama, and we stopped by Pensacola to check out the lighthouse and to find out what it would take, to get in touch with a paranormal investigation there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got in phone contact with Rob, and he basically told me, that he could make it happen. And I told him I'd be back up in a couple weeks, and we'd do a meet and greet type thing and, get more detail on when we were going to do the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, he introduced me to the curator of the lighthouse, and then he took us through a tour of the lighthouse building itself and was basically telling us what spirits he communicates with there in the lighthouse, in the house itself.
Okay.
And as we went down to the basement, Rob was still talking to Tina and stuff, and I was kind of like just following behind. And as he walked into the basement, I saw a rubber handball, like a rubber orange ball, come flying out of the doorway and pop on the ground. It made that popping sound like a rubber handball does. It's a thump on the ground.
Right.
And I didn't say anything at the time because I didn't want to interrupt Rob as he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking behind him and stuff, looking at, because I only heard one thump and I didn't see no more, ball or anything. And I'm looking around for the ball, and I said, I just saw an orange rubber ball come flying out the doorway, and it hit the ground, and plain as day. And he kind of explained, there's a couple kids down here that likes to play. And so then we went into the gift shop, and the way we went into the gift shop was where if you went into the gift shop the other door, you would have bought tickets and then exited out the door for the tour.
Right.
Well, we came back into the door that you come back from the tour, and the lady was working behind the counter, and I just basically told her we was with Rob. We didn't, go through the formal tour. He just gave us a private tour and explained why we were coming in that doorway there.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time, as we walked in, we were telling her that, we getting some, some spirit movement down there in the basement. And there was these, like packages of pictures and stuff that were on a shelf up there on the display board for sale in the gift shop. And they didn't just fall off the shelf. They went flying across the gift shop.
Oh, wow.
And we kind of just stopped, and we all looked at each other, and this young lady behind the counter walked out from behind the counter, picked the items up, and she put the stuff back up on the shelf where they were. And she kind of got behind the counter again, and she says, "Tell Rob, quit bringing that crap in here." And about that time, those same pictures come flying off the shelf and went all the way across the gift shop again. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So when we get into the investigation, they're going to let us in the gift shop, too, which Danny and Gina is going to be helping us on that investigation as well for Truth and Legends.
Sweet.
I can't wait to see what we get out of there. And Rob, he's going to be there with us, too, but I don't know. It's going to be crazy. Like I say, he looks like a little Santa Claus. I love you, Rob, but you look like a Santa Claus if you're listening. You guys will hopefully get the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
He's retired Air Force.
Yeah.
So you guys are, what, season 2, I think? Oh, they're 3. Season 3.
You're the first episode.
The schedule come down in August.
Yeah, you're the first episode for season 3.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
I can't believe we're just rolling this thing on out. I mean, we're going to be leaving in a couple days to go film our third team in Boston, Massachusetts.
We
just came from there.
Yeah, visit Salem. You gotta go visit Salem.
We did.
We're planning on it.
Went to the Lizzie Borden house and
Mhm.
went to the Salem. Did the Salem witch tour there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tour. Yeah.
We're going to.
So how is filming going? Is filming on time and everything? Is it going on smooth or?
Well, it's going. I mean, we just got done filming 3 locations this past weekend.
Yeah.
And you guys stay busy.
Yeah. And then this coming weekend, we got 3 more locations that we're filming.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we're taking a day to ourselves because, I mean, I'm a Kentucky chick and I've never been to Connecticut or Massachusetts. So, I'm going to go visit for a day in Salem. And then I've got a good old friend that's from high school that lives up in the area that she hasn't seen me in 25 years. So, we talk all the time on Facebook, but she hasn't, so we're going to hang out a little bit with her because I haven't seen her in 25 years. And
awesome.
Yeah, so after that, we have our thing going on in Metropolis, and then we're off to Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Now you heard about the Bridgewater Triangle up in that area, have you not?
My husband's from Boston.
Oh, okay.
I was born in Brockton and lived in Mansfield, but there was it's a triangle. It's basically, I guess, that whole triangle area was supposedly haunted centuries ago by the Hockomock Indian tribe.
Oh.
But it's called the Bridgewater Triangle.
Where's that at?
And they have Bridgewater, the Foxborough, the Fall River area. All that area is it's like a triangle area mapped out. And there's there's some swampland up there, I guess, that was owned by the Hockomock Indian tribe up there, and they supposedly cursed that, or it's been cursed, or something like that. But,
Oh, nice.
It's been on a lot of unsolved sightings for like UFOs and everything. You gotta do some research on that. You might,
which was incredible because when I was a little child and living up in Massachusetts, I was staring out my bedroom window one night, and I saw some strange lights in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I seen one come straight up, and then I seen another one come from a distance, stop right above it, come down. They touched each other. Then the one on top took off and flew off, and the other one went right straight back down to the ground. And I was like, I didn't think nothing more of it, and I was only about maybe 11 years old at the time. And I think it was about 2 years ago I was watching a TV show about the Bridgewater Triangle, and somebody had just seen that same light figure up there in the up in that area, and they had it on video, and they showed those lights doing that same exact movement that I had observed back in 1970 and stuff like that.
It's crazy. Yeah, we were talking earlier about the Trans-Allegheny investigation. This is the first time it's ever happened to us too. John was in the closet, and we were, talking with the spirit box, and he had the headphones on, couldn't ask, hear what we was asking. And we didn't know this at the time, but he was seeing like a red laser light inside the closet.
Oh, wow.
But we were seeing it. Danny actually seen it first. His wasn't red though. His was like a yellow. It was like just like a laser pointer, but nobody had a laser pointer. This was on the fourth floor. And I had never seen anything like that. It was just like almost like somebody had just a laser pointer pointing at things. And then I had never seen anything like that. Have you seen anything like that on your investigations? Besides not using your laser grids, just out of random.
No.
It was weird.
No, never seen anything like that.
It's crazy.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It was weird.
Trans-Allegheny is on our list, but I'm not sure when we're going to get to it because we're taking the Paranormal Journey into the Unknown Season 4 overseas. Yeah. So right now, Season 2 and 3 are currently getting scouted to networks. And we've got 3 that are interested, so we're kind of sort of negotiating. That's the fun stuff. but next year we'll be 3 days in London, 2 days in Paris, and 3 days in Dublin.
Ah, you gonna be investigating or just like a honeymoon type thing?
Oh,
A little bit of both.
yeah. we got to sightsee. I mean, you got to sightsee during the day and then do the investigating at night.
I mean, I got to see.
That's right.
I mean,
They got all those castles to investigate now.
Oh, we're actually going to get into Limp Castle.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I spent 9 years over in Germany while I was in the military. Loved it over there.
Yeah, wasn't into the paranormal back then.
I wasn't into the paranormal back then, though.
The only thing I want to see if we go to Germany, there's only one thing I want to see. It's that 9-story building that has the miniature trains in it.
Are you talking about the one that has the airport and the train?
It's got everything in it.
It's like a miniature country or whatever in it.
Got a working airport in it and everything.
Wow.
I think it's Hassenmuller or Hassen something. But it's like a 9-story building, and it is just loaded.
Surprised you don't want to add the Harry Potter adventure to it.
I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Nah. I liked the first season when it came out. Then, I got bored with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we're gonna go to Belfast.
Oh yeah, for the Titanic.
Yeah.
I have to go to Belfast to go do the Titanic thing.
Are you guys going to try to see those concentration camps they got set up for tours now? Where's that at, David? that was in
Auschwitz and Dachau. No.
Yeah, they
in Germany.
In Germany, I guess they have those where you could go. I don't know. Personally, me, I couldn't do it because I probably feel everything, and I would probably just get overwhelmed with it. But that was a sad time back then. Now I'll tell you. Sad time.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be going to Germany anytime soon. It would be nice, but and
Yeah.
and in 20 this one we've got it, but it's a long wait. 2022 we're going to be in Italy, and we got 48 hours on the Island of Death.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Pagogi Island, whatever that is.
That's where Zach filmed out, right?
Poveglia.
Didn't he film it?
Who?
Yeah, there you go. Zach.
Yeah, Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
Ghost Adventures was the first one there. We're the second one.
Yes, I remember that now. They got some good, awesome evidence there too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so we had to go through the Italian government to get everything all ready. I mean, there's still some stuff that has to be done. I mean, freaking 3 years away. Is the island even going to be there? But we have it for 48 hours.
That's awesome, y'all. That's awesome. Yeah. That's like Rob helped us a lot to get onto. We have our Navy pass and stuff, but they had to go through a lot just to get permission to film on base and everything.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you ever get a chance, son, y'all really need to go to Trans-Allegheny. We had her name is Angel, what we call her April.
Uh-huh.
She had a bad experience there when we was doing the walkthrough tour.
Mm-hmm.
She got like real angry at everybody, and I kept asking her, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm fine," but she had it look like she was ready to jump somebody,
Oh wow!
But we was for the criminally insane area, and she didn't believe me, and I took a picture. I said, "Look, this is what we're seeing right now."
Yeah.
Even the tour guide thought that she was upset.
Oh wow!
And she really don't remember none of that. But I showed her the picture, and the anger on her face is crazy. It's crazy. Wow. But we're fixing to go to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital now. I haven't been there since Ronnie had taken it over. And John, which goes on our investigations too, he was just there. And he put a glow stick inside a balloon and put it in the hall where there was no ventilation whatsoever. And he had his camera on it, and it looks like it at least moved, about 2 foot? But it looks like something was over there just kicking it towards the wall. And, when you put the glow sticks in there, the balloon's a lot heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look real close on the right side of it, it looks like a shadow person on the right side, too, that was in that area.
We went there a couple of years ago. Actually, it's probably been about 5-6 years ago. We went and did South Pittsburgh, and on Tina's thermal camera, we got a little boy playing peekaboo behind the water fountain for like about 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty awesome. I mean, you couldn't see. It was one of those water fountains that mounts on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You could see what's underneath it. And there was, behind it was nothing but brick wall. There was no doorways or anything. And for about 15 minutes, you couldn't see no feet, but you could see a head and shoulders popping up on the other side of the water fountain, and then poke back down and poke back up and poke back down. And he did this for about 15 minutes. It was incredible.
So hopefully when we go back, we're going to be there November 8th, that we could catch or something like that again. John said he saw the shadow, the supposedly like a 7-foot or 8-foot shadow person.
Mm-hmm.
John said he had seen that last time he was there. I'm excited. We just love the paranormal, and stuff like that just totally fascinates me. The unknown, I guess, is what, we used to skydive. Now that we're too old to skydive, we return to paranormal. We're just
safe.
Which is a lot safer, I guess.
Yeah, we just we were at Old South last weekend.
Yeah, because Old South.
You know what?
I said Old South.
Oh, was you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We were there on October 19th. We were filming for Truth or Legends.
Oh, okay. Did they get good evidence? Of course, you always get something at Old South Pittsburgh.
I think so,
always
yeah.
get
Oh,
something.
Yeah, they got some good stuff. We went over it during the reveal, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and we've been to Old South several times.
Mm-hmm.
And back, before Ronnie and now. And the place is beautiful inside. Ronnie has done a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, they have. Yeah, we went up there and helped them out one day with the paint scraping and stuff, and
I was
they've
impressed.
just done a tremendous amount of work here. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I have not had a chance to meet Ronnie yet. I mean, we chat every now and then on Facebook, but I tell him all the time, I say, what you have done here is amazing. I mean, it's night and day, because we've been going to OSPH since 2010.
Oh, wow.
Until it closed, till it closed down.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy going there. I mean, I call her Old Faithful. She usually don't let you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you meet Ronnie for the first time, I'm going to put this thought in your head. Rick Grimes.
Oh, no.
Rick Grimes.
Oh,
That's who he looks like.
are you serious?
I'm dead serious. You put a sheriff's hat on him, Rick Grimes.
Yeah.
Look
See, now
just
you
like
want
him.
me- Now I'm going to have to go out and buy a fake little gun, a little cat gun, and give it to him because he always carries that big old gun around.
Yeah.
You should not tell me that because I'm a big Walking Dead fan. I love Walking Dead.
Carl!
Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No offense that it took Carl forever to die on this episode.
I've watched Walking Dead all the way from the first season all the way up to when Rick left, and then it just went downhill.
It has. Michonne left. She's leaving this season, too, so
Yeah.
the only original ones we're going to have is going to be Daryl and Carol on there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yep.
we have like I said, we travel a lot, and somebody had asked us a while back what was our favorite locations we've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of them, but the one that always pops to our head is Brushy Mountain Prison.
Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary and Randolph County Infirmary.
But their first trip at Brushy was it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They just got a bad storm that day, and we were doing the tour. Miss Jamie was giving us the tour and everything. And there was an old basketball. You know, when they get old, they kind of turn white color.
Yeah.
And it was kind of flat.
Mm-hmm.
And she had chairs sitting out in the ball court. When we walked by it, something just told me, hey, put that ball in that chair, So I did. I put the ball in the chair, and we did our thing, went on, and we had the camera on it, and so we started our investigation. and you see me going out to shine my flashlight on that ball and everything. And I give up because nothing's happened. The ball was still in the, sitting in the chair where I left it. So we were doing our thing in the gym, trying to see what get some EVPs, what have not.
Right.
And when we left out the gym, I said, "Holy crap! Where's the ball at?" And Danny looked over. The ball was like 4 foot in the chair. I looked at Danny and said, "Somebody's got to be paying a joke on this now." So we went back there to review the camera. Go ahead, Dave.
And that ball just picked up and went right over the back of the chair.
Yeah, you could see it deliberately being lifted up and just like tossed behind the chair. And I know me and Danny, we spent over almost an hour trying to debunk that, Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
We even tilted the chair to see if it would slide. It did slide when you tilted the seat part of the chair up, which was not tilted, but it didn't get thrown. It just slid out. To this day, me and Danny's like, what could that have been done? It's like, why are paranormal investigators so hard on your own evidence? You know what I'm saying? It's like you do everything to pick it apart.
You have to.
But
I mean,
that actually made the Knoxville news. They put that on the news. But that was impressive. I mean, when you get that one evidence like that, like with the Velisca door opening, the ball, it's just like, oh my gosh.
It's like that one good golf swing.
Yeah. And then we was at, and speaking of doors again, we were at the Ashburn jail, and Ben and I were in the kitchen area, or the dining room area, and we literally heard that back door handle jiggle, and it blew open. And that was right after Miles Cribb's name.
He was the only one that was executed that was housed in the Ashburn jail. He was the only one executed there.
And we couldn't debunk that. And another thing that happened at the jail, and it happened to Danny, we were, me and Gina were in where they used to do the intake, the process of the inmates talking and everything, because that's where they had the base station set up at that time.
Right.
Her and I were talking, and I just walked out to see what Danny and his son were doing. They were at the truck getting ready to go upstairs and go investigate. So I went back in, sat down, me and Gina and Dana were talking, and all of a sudden we was sitting out of the corner eye. Danny had left his truck, was going to the front of the jail. And Gina said something that made me laugh. I had this very unique jiggle, I guess everybody says. So I started giggling, and then Danny had came in. He goes, "How long have you been in here?" And we're all looking at Danny like, okay, Danny, he's lost it, because I'm sitting right here and I haven't moved. And I told him, so we're going to sit here yakking, watching the monitors. Why? He goes, "I just seen you walk out of the jail, walk towards the front, because I was not going to let you go in the basement by yourself." I'm looking at him and said, "Danny, honey, I've been sitting here for at least good almost 30, 40 minutes. I have not moved. Me and Gina are sitting here watching the monitors." And the look on Danny's face is that, "Tina, I saw you. I saw you walk out of the kitchen and go towards the front of the jail." And I'm like, that was not me, Danny.
Now you're talking about the Crime and Punishment Museum, right?
Yes, I am.
Yep, we've been there.
And that was, yes, you have been. But that was kind of creepy for me and Danny both, because it's kind of like, why did it want Danny to follow
a doppelganger,
which was not me, to the basement,
Yeah.
And I'm glad I giggled at that time, because Danny said he was following. He was right behind me, because he looked like I was going to go to the basement, and he didn't want me to go to the basement by myself. So I'm thankful that I did giggle at the time, because that got Danny's attention.
Right.
Because God only knows what would have happened if he would have followed that spirit down to the basement. I mean,
yeah, I've seen what happened when someone follows a ghost in Ghost Ship. It's not a pleasant sight.
Yeah. No.
Oh my.
What, they have a name for that. What's it called?
A doppelganger.
A doppelganger.
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 Doppelganger. There you go. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, but we've actually had a residential case where the woman said that she saw her son standing in the living room, and then he just politely walked off down the hall. And she's like, hey,
Oh, wow.
hey. And she's calling him, and he's not answering her. And then he just walks down the hall and disappears. Well, next thing you know, she gets a phone call from her son. And where was he?
He was like 3 states over.
3 states over.
He was going.
Wow.
He was like at home visiting his grandparents or whatever for the weekend or whatever.
So do you think that, like with Danny and I's case incident, do you think that it was trying to harm Danny and using me to get to Danny, or trying to give Danny a message or something? Or
It's really hard to say. I mean, if your doppelganger actually motioned for him to come and follow her, then that'd be a different story. But if she was just walking, I don't think.
Yeah, he
that's
said
what it was.
just came out of the kitchen and he just happened to look up and see me.
Yeah, no.
Come out the door.
Yeah, no. I
But
would
why would
say
it
no.
do that? I mean, I guess that's just so fascinating. I mean, and I know you guys don't know the people I go with, but we're not going to lie about stuff. What we see and what we get is what we got. We're not going to exaggerate on nothing. And
well, like Tina said, we're hard on ourselves. I mean, we sit there, whatever evidence we get, we try to debunk it, and we try and figure out, what could have made this do this, or why we got this sound, what could have made this sound. And so any evidence that we get is actual evidence that we couldn't debunk. It's something that there's just no explanation for, that it's paranormal.
Yeah, well, you have to, because if you don't, you'll be eaten alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we've seen that on a couple ghost hunting shows. I think there's some places out in California or something that they had buildings set up that gave the false impression that there was ghosts in there, and they actually called them out on it.
Yeah, that was taps back in the day.
Yeah. Well, we have a saying, when in doubt, throw it out.
Exactly.
Yep. That's true. But, we have, like I said before, we buy all the little gadgets, old school versus new school.
Mm-hmm.
I do like some of the new school equipment, but when you just get that straight up EVP with a tape recorder without using any spirit boxes and stuff, it's kind of like, oh man, this is so cool,
I know.
Because a lot of people debunk the spirit boxes and stuff like that, but you can't debunk the straight up EVP when it's just you and nobody else in the room.
Yep,
crazy.
That is true. Well, we are now at the top of the hour. We are going to go ahead and pause for some commercials, and then we will be right back with you. You are currently listening to the Phantasmic Journey podcast, and we will be right back.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go!
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't? Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this!
You will rock this!
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Phantasmic Journey Podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Philip Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon.
And welcome back to the Phantasmic Journey podcast. We are coming to you live from the PGH Studios. Syndication is brought to you in part by WGKC Radio Live 365. You can listen to the live broadcast via the Live 365 app for your Apple or Android phones, or go to www.live365.com. Our guests tonight, they are a husband and wife team which had been working in the paranormal for 13 years. He's retired from the military, worked 9 years on the local police department, and retired from the Florida Department of Corrections. Now, she has worked in the local hospital and switched to Florida Department of Corrections. Let's welcome back our guests from Ghost Life Paranormal Investigations, Tina and Dana Flery. Welcome back to the show, guys.
And welcome over here.
Oh man!
About Allegheny again. I mean that place is awesome. I forgot to tell you, we saw the shadow person at the end of the hall when all that was going on with the closet and everything. I was laughing at myself because me and Gina were standing there. We were hearing movement down the hallway, and I'm a chicken. I'll admit it, I'm a chicken. So Gina was sitting there, and she's like, "We can hear you, but can you move closer?" You know, her and I were standing like hand to hand, you know, and I heard the foot shuffling coming right up to me. I shoved poor old Gina out of the way, and I started moving real fast. And you gotta laugh at yourself when you look at some of your evidence. But before all that happened, Jim, we had a periscope type device on the ground.
Right.
And we heard Jim say, "Something just moved the periscope." And Jim played back the video, and it moved a few inches before any of us had moved. But yeah, I was just laughing about how I sacrificed my good friend Gina because that thing was coming at me. You just gotta laugh at yourself.
So
but we have fun. We have fun investigating, though.
Oh yeah. Well, from what I have noticed is that you're going to a lot of known places. Have you done any residentials? And if you have, what was your first case?
Oh, Lord. Yes, we have.
We did, I think, one house, and...
No, we did several. The first one we ever did was actually my own daughter's.
Yeah,
at that time, she was living in Gainesville. They had just moved in this place. And the place did not feel right at all.
It was a big old building, house, single story, and the grandchildren were complaining about they were seeing things walking down the hallway and hearing strange noises and stuff. So she wanted us to go ahead and do an investigation on the house. So they all took off for the weekend, and my wife and I, we set up our equipment, and we got there about late afternoon, and we set up our static cams and everything and set up the equipment. And we left for about an hour and a half to go get something to eat in town, and came back, and we started doing our investigation. And when we went home and played back the evidence, the hour and a half that we were gone, the entire time you can hear like footsteps walking through the house. You can hear doors slam.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear things moving around in the house. There was even a distinct sound that was like right there at the front door, where you step on a metal threshold plate,
right,
and it makes that distinct noise. And we heard that several times. But static cams picked nothing up, no doors opening or nothing. But you could hear all this noise going on through the house. And then another thing that we got in the house was we had a camera shooting like across this the kitchen into the dining room area, and this like apparition just stood up right there in front of the camera and walked out. And then the second camera, about the time the apparition would have came into the bedroom, all we got was a big orb, a big white orb that came into the doorway. It was no longer a body-shaped apparition. I mean, so we got some incredible evidence out of her house, and we did. Somebody asked us to do their house that we knew that we worked with at the prison, and she had, I guess, within the last year and a half, she had her dad and her uncle both died or something. They got killed in something, and she was saying that she was getting a lot of stuff in the house, and through the EVPs and stuff. I mean, we didn't even know their names. I mean, we didn't ask for any information or anything. In fact, we didn't even know about the uncle and the dad dying.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing EVP sessions, and we kept getting the name Ken and Kenny, and that we were communicating with. And when we brought that to her, saying the only ones we can get is Ken and Kenny, she almost started crying. She said Ken was her uncle's name, and Kenny was her dad's name.
Oh, okay.
And those are the two names that we kept getting on all the EVPs that we were, when we were asking questions. Those were the two names we were getting.
And that was the only time we saw, the periscopes. They had a illuminator on it.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking at the periscope on the ground because the illuminator, something was literally over the periscope. It made it completely go black. And then all of a sudden, the periscopes, all the lights went off, and it stayed on. And, the house wasn't that dark. And the crazy thing is that we didn't see anything by the periscope. And at that time, that's when we played back the EVPs, and that's what we got. So, it's crazy. But we had to go back to my daughter's house the second time because my child, my baby, was watching the grandkids, and she called me while I was at work. She was crying.
Oh.
I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "What's wrong, Christina?" She goes, "Mom, there is something at this house." She took her she tried to record it on her cell phone, but it was too dark, you couldn't see it. But she was saying in the room that she was in, that she had no ceiling fan or nothing on, but she had the closet doors open, the folding doors.
Mm-hmm.
And she tried to explain it looked like something just like went through the closet and just like rocked all the clothes, brushed them, make the clothes rock back and forth. And she was all upset. At the time she was 15 years old. She said, "Mom, I don't know what to do. This house is crazy." So we went back in the second time. We were actually there third time. But before we got there, her mother-in-law had called us. Her name was Donna, and she was, "You guys got to come get the grandkids now." I said, "What's going on, Donna? Calm down." She said she had just put both of the grandkids to bed, and she was unpacking some of the boxes, and she was literally crying when she called me. She said something as she bent over to empty one of the boxes had came up and just smacked her in the back. She tried to take a selfie of her back, and you could see where it was red at. like something had smacked her because she thought it was one of the grandkids, but they were still asleep. So it was a couple of days went by before we could get there. We had to work around our work schedule. And we didn't get the apparition that we got the first time, but we had our motion sensors set up, and one of them, it was in my daughter's room, and it completely got knocked over, and it was also in a different position where we had put it at. We did get some EVPs that we couldn't really make out what it was. It was like a female's voice.
Okay.
And we did this research on the house. There was an older lady that was the one owner of the house. She did pass away, but she did not pass away in the house. She ended up passing away in a nursing home. And I was trying to explain to my daughter, just because she didn't pass away does not mean that she's still in the house, does not mean that she's not attached to the house. It was just almost like she was just checking on the grandkids. And back to a balloon thing, we had my granddaughter's balloon still there because we had her birthday party. Mm-hmm. And that was also on the static cams. The balloon looked like something was just kicking the balloon. That balloon was just like going all in the living room, like something was just kicking it, and there was no airflow or anything in the house.
Right.
But it was crazy. And my daughter, she moved out. It was crazy.
So we don't do too many private homes. I mean, we're not into doing too many private homes.
Well, there's not that many in this area anyway.
I mean, it's strange. You talk to somebody. I mean, we do this, just to see the reaction of people, but we're both retired now, and when and we're full-time RVers. So we RV, we go to campgrounds where we're going to ghost hunt, and we go do our ghost hunt, and then we go to the next RV site.
Oh, I forgot about the school that they asked us to go
to. And like I'll be at the doctor's office or something, and they'll say, what do you guys do now? Do you work or something? They said, no, we're full-time. We're retired, but we're ghost hunters. We go do paranormal investigations, and it's like the expression on their face is almost priceless. But then it seems like everybody's got a ghost story, or everybody's got a story to tell you, about their house being haunted, or they know their friend's house is haunted or something, and it just kind of opens up a totally different subject that that they're not used to talking about. But it's just priceless to see their expression and then see how people get involved with you.
Now, a few years back, though, we did get a call from the principal on the middle school. It was for an alternate school for troubled teens. When they get in trouble, they all go to the school. Mm-hmm. They actually contacted Dana because the school had got broke into. And he goes, you guys need to come on down here. I got to show you something. And so we went to go look at it, and in the cafeteria, it was like, we know the difference between dust and orbs. But these are like snake-looking things.
Oh, wow.
It was weird. I never seen it. Yeah, it was, those big, long, skinny balloons that they make the animal shapes out? It almost looked like those, but floating everywhere in the cafeteria.
And the cafeteria had like 6 rows of lights.
Yeah.
That you had to flip on like 6 different switches to turn on each row of lights, and that each row had maybe 5 sets of fluorescent lights in it, fixtures, and just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, on the video, on the security cams in the school, one light just randomly in the row just would automatically come on and then go off for no reason at all. And they wanted to know, if we could find any paranormal evidence in the school. So as we were bringing our equipment in, we were bringing it into the cafeteria area, and they had those big wooden doors locked that goes to the serving line where the kitchen is and everything, and you actually go through the serving line to get your food.
Right.
The doors were locked. And we go in and we start setting our equipment down, our cases and stuff, and right about that time, them doors just started rattling.
Ooh.
Heard and loud for about 15 seconds. Just blah, 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 blah. And we all just stood there. I mean, we were like paralyzed, and so the person that was with us, Carson, he finally got the key and he unlocked the door, and when we got nerve enough to go in there to see what was in the other side of the door, we went and we searched the entire area, and there was no exit doors. There was no windows that could be opened. There was no other way anybody could have came in and out of that back area. It was totally enclosed, and there was nothing there. But for 15 seconds, them doors just rattled. And we went into the auditorium area, and there's like a staircase that goes underneath the stage. I was down there doing some EVPs with my video cam and stuff. And as I was walking out, because I wasn't getting anything, I heard somebody call my name. And I thought maybe it was one of the other people out there in the auditorium. I come out of the stage, and there's nobody there. They all went down the hallway. And I played back the camera, and just plain as day, you could hear some soft voice as I was walking out from underneath the stage. Somebody called my name, Dana. And I was like, it's one of those times that just gives you chills up and down your back, because you're in the auditorium all by yourself, and ain't nobody else there that you know of. But we got some good evidence. It was, like I said, it was an alternative school, and I guess the history of it was they had moved the cemetery to build the school years ago, and I guess they found remnants when doing maintenance throughout the school's age. They found remnants of tombstones and stuff like that still in the foundation of the school that they never really moved. So, Bo Diddley, you know Bo Diddley?
Yeah, you know Bo Diddley, don't
you? He's buried in the cemetery right next to the school. They got a big, huge headstone for him and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
So it was quite impressive.
Yeah. Oh, and they also got those faces in the window.
Yeah, we got those kind of demonic-looking faces in the glass window of you know how you got those like view. You got the classroom doors. They got like that little view window on the side of the door there.
Right.
And we were taking pictures, and we went back, I guess, a couple of years later, going through some of our photos and stuff, and Tina enlarged one picture of the door, and you could see 5 faces in one of those glass windows. You just see like 5 demonic-looking faces that are inside that glass.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it was matrixing something or what, but they were very plain, very well outlined. You could make them all out very easily.
And in that one room, had the REM pod was getting hits all the time, and just that one room, I think it was 202 classroom.
But I have to say that the most place that gave me the most uneasy feeling was Sedumsville Rectory. Have you ever been to Cincinnati?
Sedumsville Rectory?
Yes.
When we were going to go, we actually talked to, I want to think her name is Teresa. I think it is. Terry. And, well, I was right with the T. And she was going to get us in, and something happened after the episode when Ghost Adventures was there that she denied it. Then something happened with her husband, and next thing you know, it's closed.
Yeah, they didn't. When we went and ghost hunted that, I think it was in 2014, 15. They wouldn't even come by the house. We would have to call them on the cell phone, and they had one of those realtor locks on the door, and they would give us the combination to the lock, and the house key would be inside there, and that's how we got in the house. And it was a bargain that was too good to pass up. I mean, it was for the price, and she said you could stay there as long as you want, and you could sleep there if you wanted to spend the night and sleep there and get some rest and stuff. So, I mean, it was incredible. And so we went in there, and the house was still completely furnished. I mean, had the dishes, the furniture, everything. I mean, you could have just got out of your car, went in the house, and started living in there.
Yeah.
That day. I mean, it was all set up to live in. And so we're setting up our equipment and stuff, and up in the hallway, the upstairs hallway, we're setting up our electric rods. We had these EMF rods that we set up in the hallway, and I had set up our static cams and everything. And the staircase, walking up the staircase, when I was walking up the staircase, I kept feeling like I was being shoved up against the wall. You know, it was like I'd walk up the stairs, and it was almost like something just pushed me up against the wall, and it was like I was having to fight to go upstairs. And I didn't say anything about it. And I got everything set up, and then I said, okay, we're ready to, start the investigation. Let's go ahead and start shutting all the lights off. So I started upstairs. I was shutting all the lights off, and went downstairs, and I'm shutting all the lights off. And Tina came over on the walkie-talkie and said, you didn't shut the lights off upstairs. I said, yeah, I think I did. And I walked back out and looked up in the hallway, and all the rods and all the REM pod and everything was just lit up. I mean, just lit up the whole entire upstairs. And I was like, it was incredible. It was like I left all the lights on, but it was all our equipment going off. And all through the night, I mean, it just felt uneasy. I mean, it was like you start getting EVPs. You know, we were doing Ovilus session and asking, who's with us, and you get the devil. EVPs was saying, how many spirits are here, and it would say legion. And I mean, it was just everything was associated with evilness. And we were taking video. Tina's brother was ghost hunting. It was one of his first ghost hunts with us, and he was standing in one of the upstairs bedrooms in the doorway there, holding a periscope in his hand and a tape recorder. And we were filming him with a full spectrum camera. And right about the time his periscope went off, you could see this like demonic looking figure jump up behind him and run around inside the bedroom behind him, which we got on video. And like I said, we were getting all these things that was like evil. It was like, it was kind of like just making you uneasy. And we were getting a very bad uneasy feeling. And then one of our last sessions, we were sitting there having an EVP session, and when I played back the tape recorder, it said, why are you here? What do you want? And just as plain as day, we got EVP, just as clear as day, said, watch your back. And I said, it's time to go.
Right.
So we packed up our stuff and we got out of there. And we was talking about it in the car going back, and Rodney, Tina's brother, he started saying, he said, I kept getting pushed going up and down the staircase too. And I says, me too. I says, every time I walked up and down them staircase, felt like something was shoving me up against the wall. And he said, that's exactly how I felt. Something was shoving me up against the wall. And I said, it was the most uneasy feeling.
The only time Dana has ever got an attachment, we believe it came from either that place or Octagon Falls.
Yeah, we were in the RV at that time, and we were going to another campsite. We were supposed to finish out our vacation. We were just going to stay a couple of days at this one campground, and then we was going to go to the Panama City area and spend a couple of days there at a campground.
Right.
But for some reason, I almost saw red. I mean, it was like I just was angry. And I was angry about everything that was going on at the campsite and everything. And I told Tina, I says, we need to go home now. And we packed the RV, and I was probably about 10, 12-hour drive in the RV. And I just drove straight home, and I hardly remember anything about the drive back home. And when I got to the house, I just started destroying things. I mean, it was like, I had to, do, like some maintenance work, and it seemed like everything I did, I just got so frustrated, I just started tearing it up and getting angry with it. And Tina started seeing something that was wrong with me, and I said, I'm not feeling right. I feel like I'm just angry about everything. And she says, well, we need to sit down and pray. And that's what we did. Is we went in the house, we sat down, we prayed, and got some sage, and we saged each other, and it was almost after about an hour, it just felt like a calm finally came over me, and it went away after that. But it was probably the only time I ever got that kind of feeling or that kind of emotional reaction from going to a place.
Wow.
Which one it came from, because is it that one or the Octagon Hole that came from? I know since then we have been back to Octagon Hole, and he didn't have any.
And that it was Octagon Hall was. It turned out to be a pretty good event too. I mean, we always go when we go to a certain place. We'll always go like a day or two before and scout out the location and make sure we know how to get there and stuff. And we pulled up to Octagon Hall in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and there was a mother and daughter standing out there taking pictures of the outside of the building. Mm-hmm. And we thought maybe they were like tour guides or something. So I went up there and introduced myself to them, and they said, no, we live in this area, but we've always been interested in this place, and we just come by and take pictures. And the building itself was closed at the time. And I explained to them, I said that, we got this place tonight to do a paranormal investigation. And it was like, they just got all excited and everything. And I told them, I said, you're more than welcome to join us if you'd want to come and do a paranormal investigation. And you think we gave them like $1 million at that time. I mean, they were both ecstatic. I mean, it was like you couldn't have gave them anything else in the world. And so they both showed up that night, and the mother and father came with this daughter. She was in college, and she was going to college there in Bowling Green. And the parents couldn't stay all night, but they had their aunt come and stay with her while she did the rest of the investigation with us throughout the rest of the night, her and her friend. And we were getting some EVPs and stuff, and I couldn't quite understand it at first. But when the aunt came in, she had short blonde hair at the time, and she was sitting there during the EVP session, and I think we were doing an obelisk session. Mm-hmm. And this name, I think it was Mike or something like that, was coming over the obelisk. And the aunt and her niece both, I mean, it was just like, you could see the tears balling up in their eyes. And the aunt had told me, she said her and her husband used to be over-the-road truck drivers. And he had died like a year ago. And she said that she used to have real long hair. And she had cut her hair and dyed it, bleached it blonde or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it kept coming over the obelisk. I like your hair. I like your hair. And she said, I just got this hair done. And then she asked, is this Mike? He goes, yes, it's Mike. And, I mean, it was like for, I think, 45 minutes, they were both just bawling, crying, having this conversation with the obelisk. And I think that's probably one of my most memorable moments of giving somebody that opportunity to be able to communicate with a loved one like that, to give them that opportunity. And it was just a fate of chance that we met, outside the Octagon Hall at that time. Mm-hmm. But it was just incredible. It was emotional, and it was just an all-around good investigation that night. We were getting all kinds of good evidence, and everybody just had a wonderful time.
We actually helped her. She actually thanked us because she blamed herself because she retired earlier before he did, and she wasn't with him, and he actually fell asleep behind the wheel.
Oh.
And she said it was eating at her for over a year because she blamed herself because if she was with him, she could have kept him awake. And she did, we wasn't using obelisk at the time, but when she played back the recorder, she was saying, and she told her, she was, Mike, I blame myself for what happened to you. I'm so sorry, because we left the recorder going, and we played it back, and you could hear a man's voice say, it's okay. And she actually thanked us, and So it really wasn't when we was investigating Octagon Hall. It's like we were there to help her. Yeah, it was just weird how everything just fell in place with this lady. You know, how we met her and everything. But yeah, we had a good time, and we met some good people.
But we thought that maybe the attachment came from there too, because me being a northerner from Massachusetts, and this was a Confederate Civil War building, and we were using that to try and stir up some of the ghosts, you know.
Now, Rob, this happened to me recently. He took us to a campground in Alabama. It was the last Civil War battle, and you know, we were allowed to go over there at nighttime. Rob had got his permission. We could all hang out on the grounds at nighttime, and we did our EVPs and K2 hits and all that stuff. And we got home, and I got in the RV. I took a shower, and right in my inner leg, there was like a big bruise, like a handprint bruise on the inner side of my side. That has never happened to me before. The only thing I could think of is I was by myself on I think it was a Union side, and I was doing EVP by myself, and I said, I'm from Texas. How do you feel about having a Texan on your side? I don't know if I accidentally offended somebody because I was not a Union supporter, or they thought maybe, or if it's because I was a female being in an all-male camp. I don't know. It's Blakely State Park.
Yeah.
But that's
Spanish Fort, Alabama area.
Yeah, that's a nice campground. But that's the only time I ever had bruises like that. It was kind of like, it was kind of like, wow, and like, holy crap at the same time. You know, it's like, because that's never happened to me before. But they say that the more you keep doing investigations, stuff like that would happen. Like I said, we've been in it for 13 years, and that was the only time that's ever happened.
When you guys were at Octagon Hall, was that the first time you've ever been there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We did take Ben and Danny and Gina back because they wanted to investigate it. And we did see a little bit of change in Dana, but it was nothing like before the first time we were there. So, like I said, we're still trying to...
I think it came from Saddamsville.
Yeah.
I really do. That place, it just felt so uncomfortable, and it felt evil there.
Right.
I mean,
you know, Octagon Hall, we never felt uncomfortable or anything there. You guys have been there too, right?
Yeah, that's the reason why I was asking about it, because when we went there, we actually were filming for the Paranormal Journey into the Unknown Season 3, and we were back in the barn area, and they kept hearing a noise. Of course, okay, I was setting up base camp. Paula and Sammy, which is an investigator we bring along with us every now and then, they were both in the barn, second level, and they kept hearing a noise come up in the corner. So the logical thing to do is take a picture. So Paula took a picture, and Sammy took a picture, and then when they look at it, well, it looks like it's an apparition of a Mexican cowboy. And Paula's got the front view of it, and Sammy got the profile of it.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, straight. It's got the broad shoulders. It's wearing a cowboy hat. It's got the, it's not a bolo, but it's the ruffled, like, collar tie thing or whatever the heck it is, scarf. And you can see it. It's plain as day. It is. I call it a Mexican cowboy. But things that happened that night, which is kind of crazy. The front door flew open 3 times.
The front door did?
Yep.
Wow.
And it was on a chain, though.
Open easy either. That front door don't open that easy either.
Oh, I know. I had to, like, push the door from the outside just to get the darn thing open, but it flew open 3 times. But it was attached to the chain, though. And I was like, okay. And I don't know why I said this aloud, but I was like, all right, I'm going to set up a camera. I'm going to see if you can do this again. Well, after I did it, never did it again.
how it goes, right?
But the strangest thing that was going on there, when you guys were there, the mannequins, did you notice anything?
On the mannequins?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't remember anything on the mannequins. The only thing that happened kind of strange to me and Ben, we were in the little girl's room.
Yeah.
And there was a hanger in that little closet they had.
Mm-hmm.
And did see it move, rock back and forth. And, of course, we kind of like, well, maybe it was when we walked in, maybe our body went, wind or something did it, because we couldn't get it to do it again. Dana and I, we spent some time upstairs with the mannequins, the area they had set up for like the little hospital area.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get any hits on the K2 meters or anything. Nothing on
everything.
anything.
Seemed to be coming downstairs in the main living room area, the dining room area.
Mm-hmm.
That was where we were getting most evidence when we was down there the first time.
Yeah, and the second time when we had Danny and Gina and Ben, it was actually really, it was a quiet night. It really was.
Well, there's this particular room where there's a mannequin that's sleeping in the bed, and
yes, that's where the hospital part's at, right?
Well, it's on the other. It's on the other. It's on the other side.
It's the one where there's the secret staircase.
Yeah, it's where the secret staircase is to go down to the security room.
Okay.
There's a mannequin that's sleeping in the bed, and when I walked in there, the head was facing the wall because it was laying on its, I guess, laying on its back or laying on its side or whatever. I don't know, but the head was facing the wall. I heard a noise coming from downstairs, so I kind of walked on over there, carried my camera over the little staircase thingy to point down to the hidden staircase to show the room down below to see if there was anybody down there. When I turned back around, the doll was facing me.
You're kidding me.
I got this on camera, and I'm just like, okay, dokie. And I just walked on out just like that. And I walked up to Joel. Joel was actually laying on that one bed that's in the back, facing the little hospital scene. And he is whispering to me because he's got it on camera, and I put the thermal there. The mannequins were moving.
Oh, my goodness.
That's crazy. Now that you mentioned it, I'm going to have to go back and pay attention to, I think it was Danny that had the static cams upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to get you to pay attention to that.
Well, we had the DVR system on, and you know that little girl that's in the children's room? She is facing the entrance of the room. And when we're watching the DVR camera, she's looking at looking out of the room. Well, Paula goes up there to read, and she's reading nursery rhymes. And when all of a sudden the battery goes dead, and she radios me and says I need a new battery, so I wound up getting a battery, going up there, put the battery in the camera, not even thinking about it, and I leave, and I walk out. And I stop, turn back around, and I go, honey? And she goes, yeah. I go, the statue is listening to you. And she goes, what do you mean? I go, it has turned, and it is looking at you sitting on the bed.
Wow.
Before,
that'd be creepy.
Yeah, I mean, before it was actually staring out of the doorway, like watching to see who walks past.
I had to move the heads again.
No, it was
looking at me.
Yeah, the whole thing moved.
That's crazy.
But the one that takes the cake is poor Sammy. Wherever we take her, she gets attacked. We were down in the basement in the library. I watched a scratch develop on top of her arm, go under her Apple Watch, and then go up and over the top of her hand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But see, that's kind of how it was with those bruises that I came home with. I can't explain those, Gavin. I mean, I didn't do anything. I didn't fall. I was just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like somebody literally had got their hand and grabbed me, on my leg. But there you go. That's also Indian ground there. It could have. God only knows who it was. But it's crazy when you have stuff like that happen to you.
Oh yeah, like whenever we do a radio show, people always ask, it's like, well, have you been scratched? I'm like, I have been pushed, tugged, tripped, scratched, and slapped by invisible forces that I cannot see.
Exactly.
I mean, there was a time that we were at the Massac County Courthouse on Facebook Live. This was something that we decided to do, and I was live, she was live. And people got to see me get pushed down the stairs carrying a $4,000 camera.
Oh, my land.
Camera's fine, though.
Yep. Okay. Oh, my God.
That was the first thing she said. Is the camera okay?
Yeah.
You can be replaced. The camera can't.
Yeah, no kidding. I was like, well, see, the weird thing is Lori Johnson was our guest on that episode, and we had some weird things happening while we were in the jail over there. And one thing that she told me, she says, I'm getting a feeling that you need to be careful. Something bad's about to happen. I'm like, oh, thank you for that. What happens? I get pushed down the stairs.
Nothing like, I'm not going to say it's ever going to happen because I don't really want it to happen because I'm clumsy as it is. I don't want to fall down those stairs. I know this year, like I said, John, he's kind of new at investigation, and he actually got poked at Trans-Allegheny, and so that April, and we was at a little jail called Hamilton Jail, and Gina, she was something just literally grabbed my butt. It was like, wasn't us? We wasn't even around her. She goes, that is so awesome. I said, yes, it is. It is awesome when you first get touched, poked, or whatever. It's kind of like, it's crazy.
That's another location that we're going to be sending you, is Hamilton County
Hamilton
Jail
County Jail.
Up by Jasper, Florida. We've been getting some good evidence out of there, too, so as soon as we get that put together, we'll be sending it to you.
Now, that jail, at Hamilton Jail, before Dana had his heart problem issues, something that was there at that jail was telling me that. I was acting like I was a nurse, giving out the meds. I said, last call for meds, does anybody need anything? That all of us kept saying heart. Yeah, repeated like 3 times. I said, are you having heart issues? And then when we paid back the regular EVP, when I say you have the heart issues, the EVP says, no, it's him. I honestly think whatever was at the jail was warning me about.
And it was a couple months later after that, I ended up having triple bypass heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think something was just kind of giving me a heads up. And by the way, that the same night I was sitting in the only med cell that they had.
And I was taking pictures with a full spectrum camera.
And I was getting aggravated because he was blinding me, He wasn't telling me nothing.
Picture. I wasn't saying nothing to her. She's just sitting there having an EVP session, and I'm standing down the hallway facing her taking pictures with a full spectrum camera. And after she got done, I said, this is awesome. She goes, what? I said, look at the shadow that's standing behind you and hovering over your head.
He didn't tell me nothing, Dad. And here I'm sitting there getting annoyed because I'm getting blind now at this point.
There was this big 7-foot shadow that was just standing behind her, hovering over her.
He was not hovering. He had his arm around my neck area. So he not tell me anything about this.
I didn't want to disrupt anything. So.
Yeah, we were at the St. Albans Sanatorium down in the basement where
the bowling alley?
No, not the bowling alley. What was the name of the little girl with a Davis? What's her first name? Gina? No, not Gina. The one that got murdered.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I remember that on the floor.
Yeah, we've done the St. Albans
her
also.
name was Regina.
No, it's not Regina. I don't know. But anyway, she was down there up against the wall. Well, actually, not really against the wall, but she was over there where Smokey usually hangs out. And she's got the SB7 and the K2. And I have 2 camera guys filming. And I lean over to Chad, which is one of my camera guys, and I go, "Do you happen to see that shadow that's behind her?" And he goes, I'm trying to be nonchalant, and he's like, "Wow, there's a shadow behind you, Paula." And she's like, "Huh?"
Well, that's me, Gavin. And when I see something or hear something, I get so excited. You definitely know when I see or hear something.
Yeah, it's actually on our...
I either go
Couldn't be no worse than the one at Scottsville Hospital.
See what happens to the other person, you know.
The basement.
Which one are you talking?
In the basement.
Which one are you talking about in Scottsville?
The hospital in Scottsville when we were in the basement.
Yeah, what about it?
Where the big old tall shadow figure was standing behind me.
Oh, you're talking about the old War Memorial Hospital.
Yeah, in Scottsville.
Yeah.
That was a creepy dude right there.
So which one do you think is more creepier, the tall shadows or the little shadows?
Well, this one, we were in the asylum, the mental department of the hospital where they locked up the mental patients, and supposedly you have the dark shadow figure that likes to hang out in the mental ward. And I'm like, okay. So we're down there filming, and Gavin turns around and goes, "Don't move."
Oh, that one.
I'm here going. I'm going, why? He goes, "It's behind you." I'm like, "What's behind me?"
I'll just leave it at that. I'll be like, "It's behind you. Don't move. I'm going this way."
Paula, I think what it is that life policy my husband has out on me. He's got something going on with his spirits now. Crazy.
Oh.
They don't do tours there at that hospital anymore, do they?
No, actually, it got sold and somebody else bought it. I don't know who bought it and what they're thinking about doing, but the original owner does not own it anymore. He sold it in September. I don't know who the new owners yet are.
Yeah.
You go open it back up or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
St. Albans, when we was at St. Albans, we were getting most of our evidence down there in the bowling alley.
Yeah.
We got some EVPs and some lights, K2s going off, and we got a door slam right behind us.
Yeah, right there in the bowling alley.
And then upstairs, where they had the double front doors, the main hallway, and they had that hallway that went off to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And playing back I played back the static cam immediately after setting up to see if everything's recording correctly. And when I played back the hallway one there in the front entrance, we got 3 orbs that were like side by side. There were 3 of them just coming right around the hallway and right down, came right towards the camera and then disappeared.
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing I ever saw.
Well,
yeah, it looked like a little UFO.
Yeah.
Funny.
But when we were at the bowling alley, we were finishing up getting everything all wired up, and we were just in there doing an EVP session. We had a little pink pin fall out of the pin setter, which is really bizarre. But when we all left, the cable that was for our DVR went from the top of the stairs diagonal to the other side, basically saying we can't go up the stairs.
We got lost in there, I'll be honest with you, Gavin. We spent most of our time, it was just me and my husband at that time. We spent most of our time trying to figure out where we were going. We got lost.
I believe it.
Yeah, that place is like a maze.
Oh, yeah, it sure is. Well, I tell you what, you guys, we've had a great time with you on the show, and I'm sure we'll go ahead and have you guys on the show again after we start talking about Truth or Legend and you guys show up on the episode. We can talk all about that. And
awesome. I want to thank you guys again for giving us the opportunity for being on Truth or Legends, and definitely wanted to thank our crew, Danny and Gina and Jim, April, John, and Rob. Yeah, they're awesome people. That's one thing with the paranormal, you get to meet the most awesome people, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's the reason why we're doing this project. It's Para-Unity. We're proving that it's alive, and we're all working together.
Yeah, you learn from everybody. I mean, that's one thing with the group that we hang out with. I mean, we're all just like a family. we all learn from each other. I mean,
and we learn new tricks, how to do things differently. We're always open to different ideas on how to do different experiments and stuff.
We're always open to new things. And like I said, between John and Jim, they're the ones that's helping edit a lot of my stuff because it's Greek to me.
Yeah.
So at least they're giving me a helping hand, and Danny helps out too. But Danny, he works a lot of hours. It's kind of hard to get him to take a break to do some stuff. You know how that goes. But anyway, they're awesome people, and being around them really makes it more. Our investigations very enjoyable.
Right.
We totally appreciate all of them.
Well, that's the best way to do it. Well, we're going to go ahead and close the show tonight, and hope you guys have a good rest of the evening. I've got a few things I got to do because we're going to get ready to head on out to Boston and next,
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. We're heading out to Boston.
All right.
So,
y'all be safe now.
Y'all take it easy. All right, then. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. And I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We were talking to Tina and Dana Flery. And as you noticed, yes, they are one of the teams that is working with us on our new show, Truth or Legends in Your Hometown. I hope everyone enjoyed the show, and have yourself a great night. Next week, we're going to be joined by Christopher Booth and Rachel Booth, so that should be a really good show.
Be a Halloween special also.
That too. All right, good night, everybody.
By Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Colin Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon.